I've done a lot of these top 10 underrated guitar players lists over the last year here on GearGasms, but it's time we showed our bass playing brothers some love, and we're going to bring you the top 10 underrated bass players list today right here on GearGasms. Hi everybody, welcome to GearGasms. I'm your host Alan Barnes. Just recently I put out a video where I made some jokes about bass players. Some people don't get my sense of humor. Some people got kind of bent about it. So today I'm going to show all the bass players just how sorry I am by putting together a list of the top 10 underrated bass players. This list focuses solely on people that were in bands. We're not really going to do studio cats. That's kind of not fair. There's almost nothing more important to making a really great band than a really great bass player. So we've put together a list of some of the most criminally underrated bass players of all time, and we've got them all right here for you in one package, and I really hope you enjoy it. Starting off with number 10 on our list, you people know, if you've watched any of these before, I like to sneak two into this first spot. Today's no different. And although I said I was going to stay away from studio guys and only pick guys in the band, this is a band that actually had two different bass players in it, two different bass players that went back and forth sharing the duties. And the band I'm talking about is the Funk Brothers. That's the studio band used on every Motown record. Now some of you people know about James Jamerson. If you're a real fan of the bass, you know he played on so many great classic hits. But not a lot of you know about the other guy, Bob Babbitt. And originally James Jamerson played all the bass in the Motown house band, but apparently James had a little bit of a drinky problem and became unreliable at a certain point. So Berry Gordy brought in Bob Babbitt. Now it was hard to find clips of these two guys, especially James Jamerson because he died many moons ago. Bob Babbitt only more recently in this last decade passed away. But I'll just allow you to use your imagination and think of any great Motown song you've ever heard and appreciate the bass mastery that was part of the Funk Brothers and James Jamerson and Bob Babbitt.
Bring some understanding here today. Pick it light, pick it sides. People don't punish me.
Number 9, Lonnie Turner. Who? What? I know what you're saying. You ain't never heard of that dude, and that's why this is an underrated bass players list. Lonnie Turner was the bass player for Steve Miller Band back in its heyday. If you listen to a great many Steve Miller songs, as simple as they may be on the top, the bass playing is fantastic. The bass playing on Jungle Love is just completely insane, over the top. I'll throw a clip on there so you can appreciate the man on our list at number 9, Mr. Lonnie Turner. Number 8 on our list, maybe you've heard of this guy, maybe you haven't, it's Graham Maby. He's the bass player in Joe Jackson's band. Again, I welcome you to delve into that catalog and hear the amazing bass playing that's going on in it. Here's a little taste of what Graham Maby was able to do on the bass.
Is she really gonna take him home tonight? Is she really going out with him?
Number 7, it's another Graham. What Graham are you talking about? Are you talking about Graham Nash, Grandma Hash, Grandma Cocaine? Oh, no, no, no. It's Larry Graham. Who? Larry Graham was the original bass player in Sly and the Family Stone. Bass players know that he is widely credited for inventing the slap bass. Now, Sly and the Family Stone was a mercurial act. Larry Graham had decided he'd had enough, and then he went on to form Graham Central Station. Now, when I show you this clip, I know what you're going to think. You're going to think the same thing I thought. That ain't no Larry Graham. That's Damon Wayans in a wig playing a character, but it's not. That was the dude's serious look. And yes, he does look a lot like Damon Wayans, but the man was a complete R&B, funk bass master. Number 6 on our list of the most underrated bass players of all time. I'm going to get some stick for this one, but I don't give a shit. It's John Taylor of Duran Duran. Never got enough credit, but if you listen to Duran Duran's music, their entire catalog, the one thing that stands out as being completely amazing is John Taylor's bass playing. I don't care if it's Hungry Like the Wolf, Girls on Film, Planet Earth, Wild Boys, Rio, the list is endless. That boy, and although we like to hate him because he's amazingly good looking, can play the bass. John Taylor's number 6 on our list. Well, we're almost halfway there. Are you having fun yet? T-shirt shout out time. It's Le Clash. Once called themselves the world's most dangerous band, but at the time I think the world's most dangerous band was probably the Sex Pistols. Sid Vicious was not a good bass player, but yet at the same time he was a killer bass player. And not so coincidentally, number 5 on our list at halfway there is Paul Simonon. Now Paul was a bass player for the Clash. And early on, the Clash stuff was pretty simple. Paul was a completely self-taught bass player. But man, oh man, he seriously woodshedded on that thing. And by the time you get to the second album, or especially London Calling, you can really hear how amazing his bass playing became. Paul Simonon of the Clash is one of the greatest.
Genesis to Revelation, the next generation will be from Genesis.
Number 4 on our list, it's Bruce Thomas. And again, I know what you're saying. Who the hell is Bruce Thomas? Bruce Thomas is the bass player for Elvis Costello and the Attractions. I invite you to listen to Elvis Costello's probably first 6, 7, 8 albums. Currently, Elvis tours off and on with a band called The Imposters, which is pretty much the Attractions, but with a different bass player. But Bruce Thomas, I don't care what you listen to, whether it's Pump It Up or I Don't Want to Go to Chelsea, those bass lines are crazy, killer, amazing. He's number 4 on our list.
Watching the detectives when they shoot, they beat him up until the teardrops start. But it can't be wounded cause he's got no heart.
Number 3 on our list. The man, the master, never played a bad note in his life, Burdine White. Earth, Wind, and Fire. Earth, Wind, and Fire, I can't tell you how much I love their music. If they ever recorded a bad song, I haven't heard it. Now, Earth, Wind, and Fire still tours. There's probably like one Earth and maybe half a Wind, and Fire's been dead for 100 years. Of course, that band gets all the attention for the horn section, and deservedly so. But wow, Verdine White is a true giant of bass playing, and he's number 3 on our list.
Shine bright to see, true to be. You're a shining star, no matter who you are. Shine bright to see, true to be. Shining star, and you can see what your life can truly be.
Number 2. We're coming down the home stretch, and these last two, I struggled which one to make number 1 and which one to make number 2. They're that close. This next guy was in a band with just so many amazing pieces of talent in it that his contributions were often overlooked, and I'm talking about John Deacon of Queen. Now, John gets a lot of crap. People listen to like Another One Bites the Dust or Crazy Little Thing Called Love, and they hear those super simple bass lines and they think that John Deacon was probably like the least instrumentally talented person in Queen. But let me direct you even to something that's simple on the surface, like Under Pressure, which he wrote, or My Best Friend, which he wrote. Of course, Freddie Mercury was amazing. John Deacon was a very quiet man. I hate that he doesn't participate in any of the Queen stuff anymore. I really, really would like to see him in the band. But I'll throw a couple clips on here so you can sort of just drink in the bass playing genius that's John Deacon.
I want to ride my bicycle. I want to ride my bike. I want to ride my bicycle. I want to ride it where I like. You're all I see. Ooh, you're making me live now, honey. Ooh, you're making me live. Oh, you're the best.
And finally, number 1 on our list of most underrated bass players, Sir Paul McCartney. Oh my goodness. Go all the way back to early Beatles singles, but you take a song that's pretty pedestrian like Come Together, but if you listen to Paul McCartney's bass line on that, it really, really elevates that song. George Harrison's beautiful song, Something, listen to the bass playing on that. If I had one song of bass playing that I had to listen to for the rest of my life until I die, it would be Something. It's just gorgeous. Fast forward through Paul McCartney, his solo career, his career with Wings, even throwaway songs that people roll their eyes at like silly love songs, crazy good bass playing. And the reason he's our number 1 most underrated bass player on this list is because Paul McCartney was one of those rare musicians whose talent was overshadowed by his own talent. I don't care what you say about this list. I don't care what you think. I'll fight you to the death. Paul McCartney is number 1 on our list. Well, did we have fun? Do you agree with this list? Are you going to argue with me in the comments? Are you going to call out my factual inaccuracies in the comments? I'm sure you will. You always do. I appreciate it, though. It keeps me honest. I love the fact that people get into these long conversations debating about who was better than who. It's really, really an indication of just how passionate we all are who play music about music. Please like this video and subscribe, smash the notification bell, and all the other YouTube garbage I'm supposed to say at the end of my videos. Whatever you do in the next 7 days, try not to hurt yourselves, try not to get in trouble. Make sure you stay in one piece, because I really, really want to see you here again next week on GearGasms.